Hey guys, it's Jen from beautyriotx, and I thought today we would talk about my current favorite, like, basic palettes. And I guess the way I just would describe a basic palette would be a really easy go-to palette that I don't need to think about it, and those more neutral palettes, I guess you could say, which is why I'm wearing a purple smoky eye today. We'll start with the most affordable of the bunch, and it's the e.l.f. bite-size shadows. I have Cream and Sugar, Truffles, and Pumpkin Pie. These are probably by far my favorite. I could easily do a really great neutral smoky eye with the three of these. And they're like $3 each. I mean, come the fuck on. The next are two by Viseart. These are not necessarily affordable, but what is affordable, you know? What's affordable to you? Let's put it that way. So my two favorite like go-tos for neutral looks are the Neutral Matte palette and the, okay, so they're both called Neutral Matte, but this is Neutral Matte 1. And this just says Neutral Matte, so I guess this is just an extension of that one. I think Viseart has amazing quality shadows. Some people aren't wowed by them, but I can't agree. I think they're great. The next is from ColourPop, and this is the Going Coconuts palette. I think this palette is phenomenal. I mean, I could use this all day long, every day. I don't mind the metallics in here, but I don't gravitate towards them just because I don't tend to use a ton of metallics when I'm doing a neutral eye. When I'm doing a neutral eye or basic smoky eye look, I usually kind of stick with mattes. If I use any metallics, it's like inner corner. The next is from Ether Beauty. Ether? I'm not sure. But this is the Summer Solstice palette. I was shocked at how good the quality and payoff is with this palette. Again, it's more metallic heavy, but it doesn't matter because the mattes they have in here are perfection, and they're the perfect mattes to put in here. They have a light, a mid, a deep, and then a deepest over here. They're perfection. I mean, I can't say enough good things about the quality of these shadows. I was shocked at how good they actually were. I keep going back to look like for more that I want, but none of the other ones really call to me. I want to try Joshua Tree, but either way, I love this palette. I think it's amazing. I didn't expect this to be in here, honestly, but this has been a really helpful go-to for me. This is the Scott Barnes, I hate the name, Snatural #1 palette. And it's beautiful. It's every basic neutral color you could possibly need for a million eye looks. Now, these metallics are something to write home about. And when I say these, I mean like these two and then these two. I mean, it's like liquid metal. They're gorgeous. The only thing is the other, I would even call these like satin instead of metallic. They're metallic-y, but I mean, these four are like metallic. The other ones, like, I don't really mess with, but when I want like a pop to my eye, I definitely go for one of these. And I mean, the mattes are gorgeous. At first, I wasn't like completely, when I first got it, I wasn't really impressed with it, but the more I use it, the more I just think it's amazing. The next is an incredibly affordable one. I don't know if it's still available. I got this at Marshall's like a few years ago. This is the Velvet Matte Profusion palette. The pigment of these mattes is unbelievable. And this was $7, but normally this palette would only be 10 or something. They're so saturated and pigmented, it's unbelievable how cheap these palettes are. Now, they haven't always been home runs for Profusion for me. I've actually had quite a few duds from like some smaller palettes, but the big palettes, I have nothing bad to say about them. The next is from a Black-owned brand. This is the palette called Mix Tapes, and this is from Beatbox Beauty. This is incredible. I got this because I've always been on the lookout for a dupe for the ColourPop. No, I can't remember the name. I'll show you on the screen what I'm talking about. I'm always looking for a dupe for that. Now, this isn't a dupe, but damn if it's gorgeous, and it makes me think of that palette. So gorgeous. I've used this probably like 4 or 5 times, and each time I'm just like, you know when you're just really happy when you're done your makeup? It just turned out right, you know? It just turns out right with this palette. Again, like, I'm not always on board with metallics, but these are something crazy. Like, this is totally like Trophy Wife from Fenty. Ugh. Love, love, love. Comes with a nice little sleeve to put it in. Normally I don't keep those kind of things, but I just really think this is adorable. The next is from KKW Beauty. So So this was never a brand I was ever drawn towards until I saw Teresa is Dead review it. These are very subdued shades, but the formula of these are really just out of this world. Everything blends amazing. I wish the deepest shade, the brown right here, was maybe like a shade or two deeper because it does come out a slightly more sheer than this, but still an amazingly gorgeous palette. The next is from Dose of Colors, and this is like a neutral with pops of color in it. Quality of these is so good, and I've heard people be like, I don't see the big deal about it, but I mean, I disagree 100%. I think these are incredible. And I never have a bad like eye day when I use these. It's just so effortless the way it goes on. And I mean, the metallics are like fucking nuts. Oh, and this is the Friendcation. I hate when people can't put words together, just don't go together. It's the Desi and Katie Friendcation palette. The next is gonna be kind of confusing because they're both from Natasha Denona, all three of them. The first is the Peak palette. We got this in BoxyCharm like a few months ago, and it's sublime. Everything magical I didn't know I needed. But before I fell in love with that palette, I fell in love with the Safari and Biba palette. Now, I have to admit though, these are not the shades that come in this palette. I moved them around. I have the tropical palette too. I've moved some out of there, put them in there, switch, blah, blah, blah. There's nothing metallic in here. But these are all Natasha Denona, and they're all unbelievably incredible. I mean, I didn't want to love Natasha Denona stuff. I mean, it's stupid expensive. Wow. Unbelievable. This is the Safari palette, but again, this is not actually the Safari palette. Half of the stuff is right, half of it's not. Again, I move shit around. But these are just palettes I go to, and I know I'm just going to have a completely seamless, great eye day. And that was it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what your favorite like basic neutral go-to palettes are in the comments below. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye.